This episode of FineScale Modeler's New Product Rundown features Eduard's Mustang, Voio's Abrams, Revell Germany's Voyager, and Tamiya's Lightning.
New Product Rundown brought to you by Hobby Zone USA, your source for hobby storage solutions, hard-to-find hobby tools, and aftermarket modeling needs. And by Cult TV Man's Hobby Shop, the place to go to for science fiction and fantasy kits, details, masks, decals, and more.
Welcome to FineScale Modeler's New Product Rundown, our twice-monthly look at new kits and more. I'm Aaron Skinner.
And I'm Elizabeth Nash. We have an exciting lineup this time, starting with Eduard's 1/48 scale P-51D Mustang.
This initial limited edition Chattanooga Choo Choo version was a hot seller at the IPMS USA Nationals.
And elsewhere, so it can be a little difficult to find, but Eduard has other versions on the way. So let's see what the plastic has to offer.
Surface detail is extremely fine, possibly the best I've seen. It combines recessed panel lines, petite rivets, including a few raised ones.
Optional tail fillets are included, although this kit only calls for the early, slightly curved all-the-way fillet fitted to some D5s.
The wings have recessed panel lines, but no rivets on the areas that were puttied and sanded on the full-size airplane. The underside of the gun and ammo hatches is molded thin, presumably so they can be removed to fit internal parts. I appreciate that the kit includes internal blanking plates for the shell ejection ports under the wings. The lower wing runs full span and incorporates part of the nose.
The section of the leading edges with the machine gun muzzles are single-part inserts, eliminating filling. All of the control surfaces are separate, including the ailerons, flaps designed to fit drooped, rudder, and optional fabric or metal-covered elevators.
The wings sandwich a terrific reproduction of the P-51's main gear bay with a roof and front frame, rear main spar, and center divider, along with individual frames and an upper insert with molded plumbing. The tail wheel well is molded in halves with the doors included. The main gear doors have detail molded inside, and the main gear legs have separate oleo scissors and door brackets. The diamond tread pattern tires come in halves, as do the open hubs.
The cockpit comprises a floor, sides with structural elements and molded controls, rear armor plate, multi-part seat, an unused one-piece seat is included, controls, and pedals. For the instrument panel, you have a choice of a detailed part with decal instruments or a flat part to be detailed with printed photo-etched metal parts. Only the smooth panel shroud is used in this kit. Behind the pilot are a fuel tank, topped by a rack for radios.
The Mustang's distinctive belly radiator is a one-piece opening, inserts with molded detail, and thin edge exit ramps.
Other features include optional vents along the nose, optional hooded or unhooded exhausts, a one-piece chin carburetor intake, 3 types of propeller, uncuffed, and cuffed Hamilton standard. The latter is used in this kit, and the Aero Products prop used on the P-51K. 2 slightly different spinners, several antennae, and 3 canopies, 1 Dallas and 2 Inglewood types. Other clear parts include the windshield, lights, gun sight, and mirrors. Masks are provided.
To hang under the wings, there's a choice of 75-gallon metal or 108-gallon paper tanks for this kit. The tree also includes 100 and 250-pound bombs with separate tail fin assemblies, 5-inch rockets, and bazooka tubes.
The limited edition version includes markings for 6 Mustangs on a cartograph sheet. The decals were designed in cooperation with Fun Decals.
Obviously, this is a great-looking kit, and it should build into a first-rate replica of the P-51. Don't sweat it if you haven't got your hands on this release. Eduard's already announced another, the early unfilleted P-51, and there are more to come.
Next, from new manufacturer Voiio, here's a 1/35 scale M1A2 Abrams.
This kit represents the SEP V2, or System Enhancement Package, with the CROWS, or Common Remotely Operated Weapons Station, in front of the commander's hatch on the turret.
The lower hull features sponson plates, molded weld seams, suspension attachments, and even casting numbers.
Road wheel arms, keyed for alignment, mount the road wheels with hub and nut detail on the front and rim attachment detail inside. Smoky clear parts replicate the newest version of the clear hubs. The drive sprocket is formed from halves, and there are nicely molded spare wheels and sprocket teeth.
The tracks are one-piece vinyl links with good detail front and back and minimal ejector pin marks.
The engine vents on the separate rear plate have open louvers and separate exhaust diverters.
Coarse non-skid texture marks much of the horizontal surface on the upper hull. Other detail includes hatches, handles, and vents. The driver's hatch has a separate cover for clear vision blocks, and the slide molded headlights get clear lenses.
Other hull details include an optional tow bar for the front, fender skirts thicker near the front and their support rods, as well as front fenders and mud flaps.
The turret's lower half with molded welds and conduits complements the upper half with more non-skid, hatches, and equipment mounts.
The main gun comprises 3 slide molded sections, including a one-piece fume extractor, and mounts into a multi-part mantlet and should be movable when sandwiched between the turret halves.
Turret stowage boxes with non-skid on the lids provide a mount for finely molded racks that merge into the extended 2-bay bustle basket on the turret's rear. Photo-etch brass supplies the floors for the baskets, as well as a couple of engine screens and turret front combat information panels. A vehicle condenser system unit occupies part of the front basket.
Smoke launchers and boxes for spare smoke grenades and tow cables finish the sides.
On top are the loader's hatch, with its protective armor and surrounding skate ring for an M240 machine gun, in a ballistic glass shield, and commander's independent thermal viewer.
Behind the gunner's primary sight is the improved commander's hatch with 8 vision blocks under a cover with non-skid molded on.
The crow's unit consists of a multi-part mount for a slide molded 50 cal M2 and its sight.
Several antennas, including one for the Duke counter IED system, finish the turret.
Clear parts supply lights, ballistic glass blocks, vision blocks, optics, a rotating beacon, and water bottles.
Other stowage items include plastic and metal jerry cans, ammunition boxes, and round cans.
Decals provide Evian and Nestle Pure Life labels, ammo boxes, flags, and markings for 9 Abrams, mostly in Germany and South Korea.
There's a lot to this, but it looks well engineered, and I look forward to seeing how it goes together.
Me too. Next, let's take a look at Revell Germany's rebox of Monogram's USS Voyager.
This kit of the titular vessel from Star Trek's 4th TV series was first released in 1995 when the show premiered.
Then it was released by Monogram. The molds are now a part of Revell Germany's catalog.
It's listed on the box as 1/670th scale, but most sources show it as actually being 1/677th scale. It's not a big deal either way. Bottom line is it's a large model. It's about 18 inches long when it's done.
The upper half of the primary hull is solid with large windows molded open and the small ones recessed. Other surface detail includes recessed panel lines and raised sections, including the phaser arrays.
The nearly flat lower section has similar detail.
The secondary hull blends with the primary. It'll take careful work to clean up the seam along the belly around bits and pieces. A spine insert finishes the join.
A flat component incorporating the shuttle bay joins the hinge sections for the movable warp nacelles.
Much of the detail comes in the form of inserts for the lip of the primary hull and cutouts in the nose and aft of the bridge. To show these off, the instructions have detailed easy-to-follow painting instructions.
Clear parts provide the insert for the navigational deflector, the large windows, and parts of the warp engines.
The highlight of the kit is the terrific decal sheet with plenty of stencils, stripes, registry numbers, and even inserts for the windows.
Combined with the great painting diagrams, this kit should give you a nice replica of Voyager.
And you can help the intrepid crew get back from the Delta Quadrant.
Finally, we have Tamiya's 1/48 scale P-38 Lightning.
This much anticipated release showed up at the recent 2019 IPMS USA National Convention.
The kit represents the early F and G versions, the first really capable fighter variants of the Lightning.
The full-span upper wing incorporates the upper section of the cockpit pod and both engines, which should help alignment.
The lower part of the fuselage, with the opening for the nose gear bay, has a large post inside that anchors a sturdy wing spar. When attached to the upper section with the sides of the nose bay, it locks in place one of 3 ball bearings for nose weight.
The cockpit has a floor with front bulkhead, sides with molded controls, optional instrument panels for the different variants, seat, armored back, controls, and a rack for radios, panel shroud, and a pilot.
Optional clear parts account for the differences between the canopies on the kit subjects and even include thin parts to represent the sides lowered. Other clear parts supply the gun sight glass and landing and ID lights. Masks are provided.
The nose guns are represented by barrels that are pushed through the nose cone. Although there's no internal detail, the weapon access panels are separate. Optional inserts provide for different panels on the nose, as well as the ID lights under the fuselage.
Surface detail is extremely fine panel lines and slightly heavier engraving around control surfaces. Large tabs align the separate ailerons and wingtips, and the upper leading edge of each wing is added.
Each boom comes in halves, with separate rudders, radiator housings, and chin intakes, with internal ducting and oil cooler radiators.
Small intakes are molded open. The superchargers are well represented by boom inserts, turbines, cooling ducts, and intakes.
The booms sandwich long inserts with a spot for more ball bearings and include the roof for the main gear base, to which are added walls, bulkheads, plumbing, and more for the gear legs and struts that end with diamond tread wheels with optional covers.
The gear bay doors have detailed inner parts with big locators that slide onto the outside of the bays for perfect alignment. A one-piece tailplane helps lock the booms in position, and the props are handed with multi-part spinners.
Both 150 and 300-gallon drop tanks are provided.
One of each is used for Miss Virginia, one of the marking options, a Lightning used in the interception and shoot-down of Admiral Yamamoto's transport in April 1943. The other is a shark-mouthed aircraft at Port Moresby in late 1942.
This is a kit with all the hallmarks of quality we've come to expect from Tamiya.
And a popular subject to boot. Expect to see a lot of them on contest tables.
Look for reviews of it, the Mustang, and Abrams in upcoming issues of FineScale Modeler magazine.
You can always find more new products in the October issue on sale now.
Thanks for visiting FineScale.com. I'm Elizabeth Nash.
And I'm spending a year dead for tax reasons.
Next, let's take a look at somebody's something.
Good, that's the theme of the show. Somebody something.
Somebody's small something from something. Then it was released by Monogram. Catch that?
Hey, they're in space, not under the water.
This much anticipated release.
What are you, Max Headroom?